The Gordon Hayward injury shocked the entire NBA community, and the emotional response highlighted how tough injuries like this are for players. Hayward had spent the entire summer preparing for his first season in Boston and would have wanted to help his team get to a deep run in the playoffs and potentially to the finals. But the effects run deeper than just Hayward himself. The Celtics will have to retool their entire season and figure out a game plan and rotation without one of their key players. Brad Stevens' entire offense would have revolved around Hayward's cutting, off-ball movement, three-point shooting, and incredibly versatile offensive game. Replacing this will be almost impossible on this roster, and a simpler system involving more players will need to be implemented if the Celtics are to still have success. Luckily, the Celtics are deepest at the wing position, with Jaylen Brown and JAYSON TATUM backing up the spot already. This video will cover why they are the key to the Celtics stepping up and maintaining their playoff push, and how the silver lining of Gordon Hayward being out is the increased opportunity to develop the future stars of the Celtics. Let's start off with Jaylen Brown, the number 3 pick of the 2016 draft, who was considered a project player that would need a few years to develop in order to capitalise on his insane athleticism. Brown impressed last season and earned more and more minutes over the course of the year, until he found himself guarding LeBron James in the Eastern Conference Finals. Jaylen Brown has a phenomenal YouTube channel where he documents his season and his off-season in a vlog and documentary style video. I highly recommend it and will link it in the description below so that you can check it out. But in this series, you could see Jaylen heavily working on the 2 areas of his game that needed work, his three-point shot and his ball handling. Brown hasn't had many troubles with his finishing at the rim and surprised most with how good he was defensively to start his NBA career. But by working on these 2 areas, he is developing into an extremely solid two-way player. It becomes a lot harder to guard players when they don't have a specific weakness, and Brown will benefit a lot this season from his hard work in the off-season. And this is already translated in the early few games of the year. Brown earned himself the starting spot at the 2 guard when the roster was fully healthy, and his role appeared to be to defend guards and wings heavily and score in transition, on cuts, and spot-up shooting situations. But this role has already increased dramatically since Hayward went down. It seems Brown has been given the green light to push the ball in transition and get to the rack, and he frequently scores on these drives or gets the rebound of his own miss and puts it back in. The Celtics are also abusing the fact that most teams have to put a smaller guard on Brown and have been posting him up. Jaylen has had the confidence to knock down jump shots over these smaller guards if they back off too much, or drive baseline if they come too close. Jaylen still needs to work on passing out of these situations when he is doubled or if the defense collapse, but that will come with time and experience, as it is the first time that Brown has seen this type of coverage in the NBA. Brown has thrived in this role over the first 3 seasons, averaging 17.3 points, 6 rebounds, and 1.3 steals a game, a huge increase over his first rookie season. And this is including a poor game statistically against Philadelphia, where I still think he played pretty well. And from just watching the games, you can see a player who is far more confident in himself and in his role on the team, and I think it will continue as the season progresses. His defense has also been even better, making far less mistakes than he did last season and using his great athleticism, length, and effort to disrupt opposition guards. This is the area where JAYSON TATUM has really impressed as well. Coming to the draft, most people projected him as an extremely versatile scorer and offensive player with great measurements and athleticism, but one that would be a defensive liability to start his career. But he has used his length and played with extreme effort at the power forward position to defend well within the Brad Stevens system. Tatum has played with great intelligence and poise and is really on top of when he should switch, when he should rotate, if he should contest a shot, or get ready for the rebound. And this knowledge and defensive awareness is definitely one of the brightest spots on this Celtics team early in the season. Tatum has also done well rebounding the ball and is averaging 9 a game, all while scoring 12 points a game as well. In fact, in his debut, he became the first Celtic to record a double-double in their debut since Larry Bird himself. On the offensive end, Tatum arrived as promised. Polished, versatile, and composed, with an insanely sweet jump shot to boot. I think as the season goes on, we will see Tatum get more and more looks as Brad Stevens puts him into the role of Gordon Hayward on the offensive end. Obviously, he won't be putting up the number of shots that Hayward might have put up this season, but he'll still get plenty of good looks coming off screens and in pick and roll and pick and pop sets. I think as he gets more comfortable in the NBA, we will see him attempt even more threes, as he appears to be a little bit unsure of when he has exactly enough room to fire one off. But this is a problem of adjustment, and it will disappear over the year, and I am confident that Tatum will knock down threes at a very good rate this year and for his career. And Tatum's ball handling and willingness to put the ball on the deck is going to be huge for this team going forward. Tatum has shown he is confident enough in himself to quickly attack closeouts, and he can pass out of a collapsed defense, as well as knife through defenders and use his length to get to the rim. This will be extremely important, as without Gordon Hayward, defenses will begin to blitz Kyrie on the pick and roll by sending both defenders at him. When this happens, you need wings and other guards who can make plays to capitalize on the spacing that this provides. The Celtics struggled a little bit last year when teams did this to Isaiah Thomas, and Gordon Hayward was meant to be the solution, providing a threat to shoot or attack closeouts who could pass and score at the rim. Both Jaylen Brown and JAYSON TATUM will be asked to do this more, and there will be growing pains as they do. I expect there to be some very frustrating Celtics games as these two adjust to the greater roles. But as the season rolls on and they get closer and closer to the playoffs, I think we'll see all of this pay off, as the two number 3 picks get closer to their potential and deliver for the Boston Celtics. And then there are the other Celtics who will look to step up. Marcus Smart has continued this trend of making winning plays on both ends of the floor before he tweaked his ankle against Milwaukee. And he looked a lot springier after he lost some weight in the offseason, and his 3-point shot looked a lot more fluid, and hopefully more will go in over the course of this year. And then there's scary Terry Rozier, who has also looked amazing off of the bench and brings great energy, amazing rebounding for a guard, and the ability to score in a variety of ways. Having Smart and Rozier off of the bench is a huge win for the Celtics, as they never have to play a weak or unproven ball handler and should be able to limit poor turnovers when Kyrie's off the court. I fully expect Brad Stevens to look to go a little bit smaller as well, playing Horford a lot at the 5, with Tatum or Morris at the 4, and playing Aaron Baines predominantly when Horford sits. This will allow them to have one of Rozier, Smart, and even Shane Larkin on the court with Kyrie to further minimise the effect of teams blitzing and swarming Irving on the ball. Plus, Marcus Morris coming back from injury will also help off of the bench or in the starting lineup, and will give Stevens more of a veteran presence in certain situations, as well as being a guy who can always create his own shot. And then there are the young rookies in Semi Ojeleye, Gershon Yabusele, and some older rookies in Daniel Tice and Abdul Nader. Hopefully one of these guys will step up and be able to contribute positive minutes so that Stevens doesn't have to play his starters and other guys big minutes. All in all, this injury absolutely sucks for Hayward, the Celtics, and the league. But I think that the Celtics will bounce back and end up winning between 45 and 50 games and make the playoffs. Brad Stevens is one of the best coaches in the league, and will figure out how to get the most out of everyone on the roster. And it'll be interesting to see which depth players for Boston step up and make a name for themselves. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, be sure to like and subscribe for more NBA videos in the future. And let me know what you think about Jaylen Brown, JAYSON Tatum, and the Celtics after Hayward's injury in the comments below.